All right, joining us now is Eric Ham, CTV News U.S. political analyst. Thanks for being with us today, Eric. Can you give us a sense?
It's good to be with you.
Give us a sense of the landscape where we've arrived at. The IEEPA, these emergency power tariffs were struck down. Now Trump says there's these 10%, now 15% global tariffs. Are those even in effect yet?
No, but what we're seeing here is even after this ruling by the Supreme Court, we know just a week before that, you had Congress actually vote to pass a resolution repealing Trump's tariffs on Canada. And now the Senate, when they return from their recess, is expected to take that very resolution up, where we know more, not less, Republicans are also going to join and support Democrats to repeal those tariffs on Canada. Now, in the wake of all of this, we're hearing from a number of Republican lawmakers who are actually celebrating that ruling from the Supreme Court last week because they believe that the tariffs have always been not only a killer of the economy, but also what it is doing for their electoral hopes heading into the all-important midterms. But nevertheless, Donald Trump is still trying to shape the narrative, has all of this power as a result of this ruling. And I think what it's doing is it's shaping up a massive battle between Congress and the presidency over who controls the ability to implement tariffs.
And as so often with Trump's messages on social media, you need to play a bit of translator. What do you think he means when he says he can do, quote, absolutely terrible things to foreign countries, especially the countries that have been ripping off the U.S. for many decades, he says? What does that mean?
Well, the president has used tariffs he has weaponized tariffs to actually get these deals that he wants from many of these countries. And with this ruling now, where the Supreme Court has basically struck down Trump's IEEPA tariffs, that now has basically neutered the president. And so he wants to continue to showcase to the rest of the world that he is still this very formidable player and can have an impact on their economies, not to mention the United States. And in fact, we're already seeing the impact of this with the European Union now actually holding off on ratifying that EU-US trade deal as a result of this ruling. And now Donald Trump is, again, trying to show himself to be a person of strength, given that we see, of course, what Congress is doing and with what the Supreme Court has already done, it is both neutering and shackling Donald Trump's ability. And what you're seeing, quite frankly, in Washington right now is both of the different branches of government are actually now pushing back and making their voices heard. And you're seeing an actual check and balance on the president, something we haven't seen since he came back into power.
Okay, but those checks and balances haven't done anything to the very punishing sectoral tariffs that we're seeing in lumber and auto and steel and aluminum. For people in those industries watching right now, is there any hope outside of diplomacy for relief there?
Unfortunately not. That is where Donald Trump still does wield enormous power. And that's why you see Premier Doug Ford actually wishing and hoping that something will happen in the midterm elections, and why there needs to be a deal, because what we're seeing here is these tariffs are not, again, they're not just killing the Canadian economy and hampering what's happening across the border. It's also having a tremendous impact on businesses and consumers here in the United States. In fact, today we see the markets are way down as a result of Donald Trump's continued pushback, and also the uncertainty and unpredictability that's playing out as a result of what the president continues to do.
Eric Ham, always appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
Eric Ham, CTV's U.S. political analyst.